Good day, it's Monday, June 24th, 2024. The U.S. Supreme Court presently makes up with 6 conservative justices appointed by Republican presidents and only 3 liberal justices. That conservative makeup is beginning to crack, and the rift between that conservative wing of the highest court is starting to look visible. I'm Esmeralda Padilla-Gould, and welcome to The Pulse. My co-host, Mr. Sam Buban, is in Asia on special assignment. According to an article in Politico magazine, Justice Amy Coney Barrett is visible and audible in protesting the constant use of history in the originalist interpretation of all important cases reaching the court that Justice Clarence Thomas and Justice Samuel Alito have consistently been using. There is a valid fear among legal scholars and retired jurists that Justice Thomas and Justice Alito, with Justice Gorsuch in leading the argument that because there has not been a precedent in history that has been criminally charged and found guilty, that former President Trump will not be held liable for any crime, because there is no record in history of a former president being charged and convicted of a crime. Justice Barrett started questioning the use of history and tradition to decide modern-day legal issues. Legal observers commented that if the High Court adheres to a strict history-centric approach as Thomas favors, it will likely strike down a federal law denying firearms to people under domestic violence and restraining order. The Trump appointee Justice Barrett recently foreshadowed that she is distancing herself from the approach. If she breaks with Thomas in the gun case that has yet to be decided this year, a case known as United States versus Rahimi, and she can persuade at least one more justice to join her, they could align with the 3 liberal justices to uphold the gun control law. Such an outcome could avoid political backlash that would result from a high court declaration that the alleged domestic abusers have a constitutional right to carry a gun. Thomas, who in many sectors is considered to be most corrupt and most political, who reportedly had accepted so much gift from donors whose cases reaches the High Court, might not care about such backlash, but Barrett and the others are surely aware of it. The rift between Barrett and Thomas became evident last week in a little-known and amusing case of not terribly important case over a trademark application for a crude anti-Trump t-shirts. Even at such trivial matter, Barrett squared off with Thomas in such a confrontational manner that they seem to be really fighting about something else, according to the same article by Politico. At a time when the U.S. Supreme Court has dipped into its lowest approval rating in history over presumed political bias by Justice Thomas and Justice Alito, whereby their spouses openly speaks out for so-called Christian conservatives and their involvement in the attempt to overturn the 2020 election. The court last week made a surprise unanimous decision to allow the self-abortion medication called mifepristone, ruling that the federal court is not the proper forum for such decision. But the FDA, the Federal Drug Administration, a Supreme Court ruling that gave some sigh of relief to women's rights organizations that are advocating legal rights to abortion. The issue on abortion as it relates to the right of women to choose under Roe v. Wade was reversed by the highest court in the Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization. Dobbs, a practicing physician, was sued by a Christian conservative organization known as Jackson Women's Health Organization, an anti-abortion organization. Trump allies are looking at a less hopeful outcome of presidential immunity for all crimes now that the 6 justices who are identified as conservative, with Chief Justice Roberts, who mostly acted as a centrist, has a big crack in the conservative wing now that has a divide. All in the liberal wing of the High Court are women who were appointed by Democratic presidents, like Justice Elena Kagan, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, and Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. We go first to our international news, and now we will report on the upcoming November election and how things are shaping up on both sides of the 2 major parties. In Africa, according to BBC, Kenya's Generation Z anti-tax revolutionaries are the new faces of resistance, and they are putting pressure on the government to rescind a number of its divisive tax measures. Without the help of political parties, a revolt against a contentious finance bill that began as rage on TikTok has turned into a movement. President William Ruto's administration has succeeded in uniting a sizable portion of Kenyans despite differences in party affiliation and ethnicity, something that previous administrations in the East African nation have struggled to accomplish. Tuesday saw hundreds of demonstrators wearing trainers march through Nairobi's major business area, putting the city to a stop. The demonstrators felt that Kenyans are already overworked and have little to show for it, so they braved police-thrown tear gas. Equipped with their smartphones, they broadcasted the fierce altercations with law enforcement live. As opposed to protests led and funded by politicians, Occupy Parliament, demonstrations were organized and mobilized using social media. Although the protest organizers advised participants to dress in black, others showed up with fashionable hairstyles and torn jeans. The young protesters, who went by the hashtag Gen Zs, a reference to the phrase commonly used to refer to people born in the late 1990s and early 2000s, turned out in large numbers and promised that their dissatisfaction would not end with a hashtag or meme. Through posting messages, images, and videos on social media, those who were unable to brave the streets assisted in getting the news out. The authorities have difficulty going after the protest organizers because there hasn't been a clear leader for it. On a technicality, they prohibited the march despite the demonstrators' claims that all conditions had been satisfied. It was also devoid of the looting, property destruction, and stone throwing that defined earlier political anti-government demonstrations. Protesters made no mention of their political or ethnic connections, only their unwavering will to be heard. The events on Tuesday last week, according to seasoned journalist Mutuma Matui, have changed the political landscape in Kenya. Protest politics found a new fulcrum, and a new and different generation of Kenyans found their rather loud voice. Pauline Nyogroge, a well-known political pundit, concurred, saying they are not just bold, but also quite calm and articulate. The youth-led demonstration of today was the most successful and peaceful of them. Kenya is one of the nations with the highest TikTok usage rates in the world, and the online group Kenyans on XXOT is well organized for bringing attention to problems. The Interior Minister, who claimed TikTok was disseminating dangerous content, vowed to impose restrictions on the app's use in March. However, the demonstrators are not going to back down. We are going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
We use headphones as a part of our everyday lives. Whether we're at work, getting exercise, meditating, in transit, studying, practicing, or relaxing.
Hi, I'm Ryan Sway, the founder of Aircom. I would like to introduce the world's first wireless airflow audio earbuds. As a festival and a concert junkie, I really enjoy the live experience of being there and feeling the music. When we started developing Airflow, our goal was to reproduce that live experience using earbuds.
The problem with traditional headphones is that the speakers are located inside of the earpiece, literally giving you centimeters before the audio hits your eardrum.
What Aircom is doing, they're the first company to actually address the fact that there needs to be a space involved associated with having the sound waves expand fully.
The difference between traditional headphones and Aircom audio is that the air tube gives you 8 times more space, allowing the sound waves to fully develop before they actually hit your eardrums. and this gives it a much more live, natural sound, just like in a recording studio.
It's real nice that someone actually addressed the physics associated with how sound comes out.
The challenge we had was to create an earbud with enough airspace for the sound to fully develop and breathe. Unfortunately, traditional earbuds are about the size of a jelly bean, and there's just not enough airspace. However, that changed when we developed Airflow Audio. Airflow uses an air tube to deliver 6 to 8 times more airspace than traditional earbuds. The end result is a true live listening experience, just like you're at a festival or a concert. We also added magnets to the back of the earpieces so you can wear it around your neck when you're not using it.
Being that the drivers are 8 inches from the earpiece, the magnets do not affect the integrity of the sound at all.
The orange line represents the frequency transmitting through the wire to the speaker, which then converts to the blue sound wave that develops more as it travels up the air tube, producing a balanced, full body and live listening experience.
Another really cool feature is that these earbuds are sweat-proof and water-resistant because they're coated with a super hydrophobic nanotechnology. So now you can be on a skateboard or riding a motorcycle and listen to music as if you were watching a live show or actually in a recording studio.
We're coming to you for help in bringing these unparalleled earbuds to market.
Welcome back to The Pulse. Continuing with our international news, in the European Union election shift, the European Parliament further right, Conservatives gained more ground in several countries in Europe to represent them in the EU Parliament. As reported by BBC and the Associated Press, the outcome of elections shocked the established authorities and prompted French President Emmanuel Macron to seek early legislative elections in France, giving the far-right parties significant victories in the European Parliament. The far-right National Rally Party decisively defeated Macron's party, and Olaf Scholz's center-left Social Democrats in Germany saw their support plummet to a projected 14%, trailing the far-right Alternative for Germany, which shot to the top of the polls. Voting for 5-year terms in the European Parliament, the legislative body of the 27-member trading bloc, involved millions of Europeans. The Christian Democrats would have 189 seats, up by 13. The Social Democrats would have 135 seats, down by 4, and the pro-business Renew group would have 83 seats, down by 19, according to preliminary figures from the Sunday vote. The Greens dropped to 53, a deficit of 18 seats. Last week, Macron of France announces early elections following a significant loss. Italy's Meloni will greet the G7 summit, which is supported by an EU vote that surprised German and French leaders. The Alternative for Germany's far-right gains. The victory of the EU election strengthens Poland's centrist Prime Minister Tusk. Although Orban's party in Hungary received the most votes, the opposition wins handily after Belgium's federal election complicated coalition negotiations. The center-right party in Bulgaria is leading in the national and European elections. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has expressed concern at the far-right's triumph in the European elections in Germany and other European nations, while also acknowledging the appalling performance of the 3 ruling parties that make up his center-left cabinet. All 3 of the ruling parties suffered from the election outcome. Going back to business as usual is not a good idea for anyone, Scholz told reporters in Berlin. But at the same time, we must do our job, see to it that our nation modernizes, advances, and incidentally get ready for the fact that approval will keep rising in order for the outcomes of this work to be put to a vote in the upcoming general election and for the public to have faith in the work. The Chancellor continued. The next national election in Germany is expected to take place next year in the fall, and Scholz's government on Monday rejected calls by the far-right Alternative of Germany Party, or AfD, that it should call for early elections like France. Asked about the rise of the AfD, which took 15.9% and finished as second strongest party in Germany after the center-right Christian Democrats, who are currently in the opposition. Scholz said that nobody should ever get used to the far-right parties in Europe. The shift against the liberals in Europe has something to do with immigration policies that burdens most member countries, and the climate change mitigation rules that impose heavy burdens on farmers and manufacturing sector. Now back in the U.S. front, we are going to look at some of the races in the primary election held by several states that could shape who controls the House of Representatives in the 119th Congress. In the state of Virginia primary, Yevgeny Vindman, who goes by the name Eugene, is the twin brother of retired Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, whose name became prominent during the congressional investigation of Trump's attempt to undermine Congress-approved military aid budget for Ukraine, made before the Russian invasion by being the whistleblower against Trump's attempt to ask Zelensky to investigate Biden for corruption before the 2020 presidential election, and for the Ukrainian authorities to say that the former president is under investigation as a condition of the Trump administration for releasing aid funds already approved by Congress. Such revelations from Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, an official at the NSA, prompted the House Democrats to start an investigation and led to the first impeachment of Trump. But the Senate did not have enough vote to find him guilty. Eugene Vindman worked with his brother Alexander Vindman and raised more than $5 million in campaign donation for a run for the House of Representatives seat, in an open seat created by the retirement of Democratic Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger, who is retiring in the Virginia 7th District. The message that democracy is at stake proved very persuasive than his competitors in the same party, like Prince William County Supervisors Andrea Bailey and Margaret Franklin, who ran on messaging of governing experience. In Pennsylvania Congressional District, a former Marine Corps officer and fighter pilot also ran on a platform of preservation of democracy as central to his campaign, lost to fellow Democrat and newscaster Janelle Stelson, who ran on abortion rights and the price of gasoline. Ms. Nelson will oppose Congressman Scott Perry, who is a Trump ally. We are going into a commercial break. Please stay with us for more about the November general election.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
Enjoy Film TV Network on KGNG 26.8 Las Vegas and www.filmtv.us. Search for and download Film TV Network in Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Download the WCE TV app from smartphones and search for Film TV.
Welcome back to The Pulse. In the state of Nevada, one among the most diverse representation for a state legislature, there are two more immigrants from Central Asia who want to be in the state assembly. Hanadini Nadim, who is running for an open seat in District 34, and Sharifa Wahab, who is running for an open seat in District 35, are both from Pakistan. They hope to join the growing ranks Asian American, Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders in the Nevada legislature, who now has Erica Mosca, a Filipino American, Ruben De Silva, an immigrant from India, Dui Nguyen, and Rochelle Nguyen, who are Vietnamese Americans who are running for re-election. Still in the Nevada front, Nevada, the solar energy capital of the U.S., is also the home of the solar scam victimizing unsuspecting or even the hard-pressed customers of the high-pressure tactics of the solar panel companies. The main scam are the selling point of point based on promises but not delivered. As reported by the Nevada Independent News early this month, the Nevada State Contractors Board, or NSCB, had created what is called Solar Investigations Unit, who will investigate complaints received by the board relating to solar panel and installation industry. According to the same report, 20% of complaints received by NSCB has something to do with promises not delivered. Dave Behar, the board's deputy executive director, rooftop solar panels can allow a homeowner generate their own electricity and be able to sell excess energy to the power company in a process known as net metering and save on power bills. But solar scammers will promise homeowners rebates, discounts that never comes, and some promise that their electric bill will totally go away. Dave Behar said the new agency will assist people as a resource for more public awareness of these scams and disseminate information as to resource where to go for financial assistance to the scam victim. Well, folks, we are at the end of today's program. Please join us again next time here at The Pulse. I'm Esmeralda Padilla-Gould. God bless your week.
Enjoy Film TV Network on KGNG 26.8 Las Vegas and www.filmtv.us. Search for and download Film TV Network in Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Download the WCE TV app from smartphones and search for Film TV.
We use headphones as a part of our everyday lives. Whether we're at work, getting exercise, meditating, in transit, studying, practicing, or relaxing.
Hi, I'm Ryan Sway, the founder of Aircom. I would like to introduce the world's first wireless airflow audio earbuds. As a festival and a concert junkie, I really enjoy the live experience of being there and feeling the music. When we started developing Airflow, our goal was to reproduce that live experience using earbuds.
The problem with traditional headphones is that the speakers are located inside of the earpiece, literally giving you centimeters before the audio hits your eardrum.
What Aircom is doing, they're the first company to actually address the fact that there needs to be a space involved associated with having the sound waves expand fully.
The difference between traditional headphones and Aircom audio is that the air tube gives you 8 times more space, allowing the sound waves to fully develop before they actually hit your eardrums. And this gives it a much more live, natural sound, just like in a recording studio.
It's real nice that someone actually addressed the physics associated with how sound comes out.
The challenge we had was to create an earbud with enough airspace for the sound to fully develop and breathe. Unfortunately, traditional earbuds are about the size of a jelly bean, and there's just not enough airspace. However, that changed when we developed Airflow Audio. Airflow uses an air tube to deliver 6 to 8 times more airspace than traditional earbuds. The end result is a true live listening experience, just like you're at a festival or a concert. We also added magnets to the back of the earpieces so you can wear it around your neck when you're not using it.
Being that the drivers are 8 inches from the earpiece, the magnets do not affect the integrity of the sound at all.
The orange line represents the frequency transmitting through the wire to the speaker, which then converts to the blue sound wave that develops more as it travels up the air tube, producing a balanced, full body and live listening experience.
Another really cool feature is that these earbuds are sweat-proof and water-resistant because they're coated with a super hydrophobic nanotechnology. So now you can be on a skateboard or riding a motorcycle and listen to music as if you were watching a live show or actually in a recording studio.
We're coming to you for help in bringing these unparalleled earbuds to market.